everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Steven Says See or Skip. Today, I will be reviewing the new release, Monsters and Minions. Wait, Minions and Monsters. What was it? I can't remember. Mix it up all the time. It was Minions and Monsters, that's correct. And it was released on July 1st, 2026. This is a movie that follows the minions in 1920s Hollywood as they search for frightening creatures for their monster movie. They partner with a green creature that they summon using occult magic and eventually have to save the planet after unleashing the monsters. I'm not going to worry about keeping this review spoiler free because I gave this a 2 out of 10. To talk about the movie and let you know why I didn't like it, I'm probably going to give some stuff away. So, heads up if you haven't seen it. The story just didn't work for me. I wasn't interested. I didn't engage with it at all. And somewhere shortly after the green guy showed up, I just was frustrated and tired of trying to figure out what the minions were saying, and I didn't want to try anymore. So I took a nap in the theater, in public. I don't know, it was maybe about 45 minutes in, maybe an hour. I did wake up right before the credits, and honestly, the nap was great. The movie, not so much. I mean, there were some Hollywood references, the silent film nods, the old timey stop motion bits, the Universal Studios throwbacks, but that was all kind of at the beginning, and it's all kind of a gimmick, right? It's nostalgia. And I've said this in other posts, you can't make something and have it just run off nostalgia. There's got to be some meat to it. You got to have some cake to go with your frosting. You know, the nostalgia's the spice on the meat. It can't be the whole meal. I don't know. Maybe the rain outside made me sleepy because when I got out of the theater, it was pouring. But it's weird to notice the weather while you're in a movie. In terms of the acting, Allison Janney is great as a tour guide and narrator, but as her role diminished, so did my interest. Yeah, Pierre Coffin voices all the minions, and that is impressive because there were a bunch of them, and they all had some little variation on their vocal tics. But it's tough to follow characters you can't understand. They have this weird minion language. Some of it was spoken English, some of it is a little bit of Spanish, some of it just seems to be random sounds. In Star Wars, you can't understand R2D2, Chewbacca, or the Ewoks, but they're not the main characters the way the minions are, and there's always other characters providing context to what's being said. Here, the minions are front and center, and there's no translation. It's exhausting. Maybe I would have liked it more with captioning because I could have read along with what was being said and potentially pieced together the minion conversation a little bit better. It's animation, so the lighting's fine, but honestly, there are plenty of animated films that do far more interesting things visually. I couldn't even focus on anything related to sound effects, the score, or the soundtrack because the minion language was so annoying. It blocked everything else out. The costumes were predictable and uninteresting. The sets were okay, but again, I fell asleep. I think that tells you everything. I guess my favorite moment would be some of the pop culture references I saw early in the film. The Universal Studios film openings going back in time, I thought that was really cool. There were about 9 of them, I think. And it was cool to see how the logo had changed and evolved over time, but seeing it in reverse. It also helped us understand that we were going back in time. The stop motion silent film references were really cool, and it kind of made sense why the minions were big when it was silent film, because you didn't have to listen to them. I loved the nod to Jaws, E.T., and The Matrix. So much fun. And apparently, there was a hoverboard in the museum tour as well. A clear Back to the Future 2 reference, but I somehow missed that. The captured George Lucas cameo was hilarious because Universal would have to kidnap him to get him into something not owned by Disney. Because Disney's got most of his stuff as part of their IP now. The Minions singing Yo Ho in a bottle of rum, which of course just made me think of Disney again. Sorry, Universal, Disney's got a lot of IP. The ancient times construction scene where they actually build a Lego, I thought that was funny. And the guy who stepped on it, yes, of course, who wants to step on a Lego, it's painful. The minion who was looking for a seat, I forget what his name was, gave a total Forrest Gump vibe of like seats taken, seats taken. You can sit here if you want. And I was like, oh, I don't know if they were going for that, but that's totally what I saw in that scene. The three houses that got destroyed by monsters, one of them had a pig in front of it. Was this a Three Little Pigs reference? I couldn't tell. The scene happened really fast. One of the houses definitely seemed like it was made of sticks, but I couldn't tell if the first house was actually made of straw or not. So, and the last house did seem to have a more brick construction. The whole play it Sam leading into as time goes by was a great Casablanca nod. And so, that was the kind of stuff that caught my interest, but a lot of that was all early in the film. What would a therapist say about these minions? I don't know. They're creatures who seek out an evil villain to serve. Reverse Stockholm Syndrome much? Of course, in this movie, they're kind of breaking off and doing their own thing, making their own movie. So, I don't know. Maybe they're healthier. Apparently it's a different crew of minions. So the minions that we know from like the Despicable Me universe, these aren't those minions, they're different minions. Which I guess makes sense. We went back in time, and I don't know what the average lifespan of a minion is, but it's got to be less than 100 years, right? I did love that they had guard dogs who have to get the minions to leave and kind of help escort them off the premises. So, Dog Watch did actually catch a dog, which was great. The last few movies and TV shows I've watched have been kind of dog free, so this was a fun one. No sex or drugs, some alcohol, and some cartoon violence, at least in the parts I saw. So, I don't think anything super intense there. It's very family friendly, but it's stupid and annoying. I think your kids deserve better. I did think it was cool that this was George Lucas's first film cameo since Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith, which came out ages ago. Oh, and this was neat. Many of the minions are named after famous Hollywood directors. There's one named Quentin after Quentin Tarantino. There's one named Steven after Steven Spielberg. So that was kind of cool. I gotta say though, those things are not enough for me to recommend this movie. I say skip it. Skip it the way you would a rotting, dying piece of roadkill on the side of the street, with your windows rolled up and your foot on the accelerator and maybe only a, ew, gross, as you zoom on by. So, Minions and Monsters, 2 out of 10. This is Steven with Steven Says See or Skip, closing with the question on my mind, which is who enjoyed this movie? Explain it to me. What exactly am I missing? Looking forward to hearing from you in the comments below.